Today we're going to build a cozy autumnal cottage because if I can't have it in real life, the next best thing is The Sims 4. And a big thank you to the EA Creator Network for making this video possible. So get a drink, a snack, a blanket, get comfy, and let's get into it. We're building in Henford on Bagley today, which is the world that we got from the Cottage Living expansion pack. And we're building on the lot where that sweet older couple lived, heavy on the past tense because I evicted them, bulldozed their house, and left them homeless. Also, I could build this cozy autumnal cottage for you guys. There's actually no reference photo for this build, surprise surprise, because I built it all with my own noggin. I did a little bit of a test off camera. I was just kind of freestyling the build, and then I decided I really liked it and wanted to turn it into a video for you guys, so that's what I'm rebuilding here. I didn't do the whole build off camera because that would be a little insane to rebuild. I'm just rebuilding the exterior that I did off camera. I like to do it this way because then it's a lot easier to follow what I'm doing and I'm way less indecisive and I can give you more bang for your buck with the amount of time you spend watching these videos. I'm gonna break the illusion for a second because if it seems like my voiceover is not really matching what's happening on the screen, well, you would be correct because I recorded this whole 4-hour build and then I brought all the footage into my editing software just to realize that none of my voiceover transferred. So that's just so fun for me. And so I've decided to take it upon myself to speak for the next hour and a half as of now, just straight to try and give you some sense of a voiceover of what I was doing while I was building this. I'll try my best to talk about the things that are happening on screen as we go along, but there may be a couple breaks here and there, and maybe I'll give you a couple life updates and things like that. But I'm sorry to break the illusion, the cat's out of the bag, but this is not a real-time voiceover like it usually is, which is most unfortunate, but I really liked this build either way and I wanted to share it with you guys. I did actually give you a poll so you could decide if you wanted a long play with no commentary or if you wanted a speed build with commentary. And I didn't feel great about either option, so I decided I would just do a little bit more work and give you a long play with a voiceover, except it's a bit of a shorter long play. I don't know if it can still be considered a long play if the voiceover is after the fact, but I would think it should be, right? I mean, it's a long video. However, it is a lot more condensed because I don't think I could speak for 4 hours straight. I probably would never speak again after that. But even though it's a voiceover, I'm going to try to keep it pretty calm for those of you sleepyheads out there who are trying to get your 8 hours in or just taking a nap, or for any of you who just like put this on as like background noise. There will be no sudden jump scares, no loud noises. I'm not going to put any extra editing in, so it's all pretty monotone and then you can just doze off to sleep. The only editing is going to be at like the start and whatnot. But now let's actually start talking about the build. So I'm doing a fall cottage farm situation like I believe I mentioned. And so I wanted the house to be pretty simple, but over here you can see I'm actually working on the barn situation. And I'm tapping into my Wismar Hill roots here and we're going to do the Dutch colonial style roof on the barn. I guess maybe the barn style came first, who's to say, I'm not sure. But either way, what you're going to do, what I'm doing right here is take a half gabled roof and make it one tile and bring in all of the adjusters and then raise it to the height of the gabled roof that you put on the top. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, there's video evidence to go along with it if you're a little bit confused. But then from there, you can leave it like that. But I'm going to come in and adjust the pitch of this. And I'm also going to add a little bit of a curve to this side piece here. And that way it'll give it a little bit more personality. And I hit Shift-C on my keyboard, and that way it smooths out the curve a little bit more and gives you more of these round adjusters. And by doing that, it doesn't look as angular as it does originally. And then if you want to bring out the adjusters on one side but not the other side, you just hold Shift and pull on the half arrow. And then you can have an overhang without messing up the seamless transition between the two roof pieces. I really hope I explained that well. I mean, I tried my hardest. I think it was a lot better when I was explaining it as I was doing it, but you can get a general sense. And if you're curious, I mean, you could watch some of my Wismar Hill videos. Shameless plug of my 2000s drama series save file that I'm working on. What a mouthful. But for those of you curious on that save file, don't worry, I haven't abandoned it. I've just been deep in a fall mood. And while yes, that save file is very fall, there's been a lot of very fall specific builds I want to do, and this was actually one of them. I put a poll on my community tab to see what you guys wanted me to build first. I put Gilmore Girls, a English castle, and then a fall farmhouse. Now I've done this very out of order. I actually did Gilmore Girls first, which placed second. I'm doing the farmhouse next, this one, which placed last, and then I'm going to do the castle, which placed first last. Are you confused? Because I'm confused. Either way, all three of them are going to end up on my channel at some point, but I was really in the mood to build a fall farmhouse this week. I've just been doing a lot of countryside drives recently, and I see all of these gorgeous farmhouses, and they look so cinematic with all of the fall colors and the leaves and the sunlight, and I just had to build it in The Sims, because if I can't live there in real life, this is as close as I'm gonna get. But something that's really fun about this build is I decided to add this kind of walkway between the main house and the barn, and then that way they can easily access the top floor of the barn, which I end up turning into a really cozy family space where they can like craft and hang out. This house does end up being for a couple, 2 kids, and 1 infant. In typical long play fashion, you have to wait for me to give you the storyline because I come up with them on the spot basically. And to stay true to that, I think I'm gonna wait at least a little bit longer until we're on the inside to explain what's going on, because I think I'd like to explain it as it's happening rather than while I'm on the outside. This house is really just a mix of all sorts of different boxes, which I guess most houses are really. But I'm just working on the back section here. I didn't know if I wanted there to be a bump out or whatnot, so it wasn't as flat. But I think in the end, a flatter build kind of suited it, because I was going for more of this old style mill that's been converted into a house kind of thing. And I actually end up putting the water wheel on the side of the house. It's from the Cottage Living debug, and what's so magical about that is that it actually moves in live mode. And so I'm gonna have a river and a pond flowing through this house as well, so it just ends up being so magical. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen this thumbnail, so you probably have a sense of what I'm talking about. But I just quickly added some roof pieces for the chimney. I brought them in to a 1x1 tile, brought in all the adjusters, and then, you know, it just connects the top pieces with the bottom piece. And now I'm just putting in some wallpaper. I ended up going with this one from Cottage Living, which is Chef's Kiss. And here I'm going to try to show you the difference in contrast between these two very similar swatches, but it doesn't translate too well. But either way, I end up going with the more contrasty, dirty-ish looking stone. And here I'm going to give you a close-up of the most gorgeous wallpaper I've ever seen in my life, and it's from the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, which I'm also going to be doing a giveaway of. You know what, I guess I'll just do it in this video. I'm going to put it at the end though, so that, you know, it's all contained in one area. So if you want to enter the giveaway, go to the end of this video. I don't think I'll leave it in the description this time, so just check the end of the video. I was just quickly trying to show you the difference between the Horse Ranch wallpapers and the Adventure Awaits ones, because I wanted you to see the difference in the depth of the slats, or like the layering, if that makes sense. I doubt that really came across as I showed it on the screen because I wasn't really talking while it was happening, but I love the Horse Ranch wallpapers, but I just was trying to show how much I love the Adventure Awaits ones more. Why is everything so complicated to say right now? Just because they have that depth between the slats. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe none of you care, but I'm a wallpaper fanatic. What can I say? But moving on from wallpapers, now we are on to the roofing here. I'm using this tile from Life and Death. I was looking at a couple of different color swatches. I loved that green, but overall I wanted the house to just be a lot of warm tones. And I figured there's enough green in the landscape, so I stuck to mainly like orange, red, brown, that kind of color scheme. And then for the barn roof, I end up using this roof paint from Snowy Escape, just in this red swatch. I was considering using the green swatch, but for the same reason, I wanted it all to be warm toned. Also, the brick on the chimney here is from Vampires. I did forget to mention that. But for the roof paint on these, I'm just going to add a red roof trim and then this concrete paint. I actually think I switched it to the shingle paint You guys, don't come for me, okay? When I put the shingles, I'm just pretending that it's brick. I'm not pretending that it's actual shingles because obviously that's a fire hazard. I just do it because sometimes it looks like it blends in with the brick a little bit better rather than just a flat piece of red roof paint. So for all of you who get upset when I put shingles on the chimney, I'm not imagining it's shingles, I'm imagining it's brick. Just for clarification. But of course, if it bugs you and you download this build, you can just switch it out. But now we've moved on to windows. I wanted to use this set from Cottage Living. It's so pretty, but I don't feel I often get to use it. Something about the scale of them is not the most versatile for me because I feel like they're kind of small, honestly. But on this building, I thought it was very cute and it suited it. And I'm already building in the world of Cottage Living, so why not make it blend in? I haven't decided, honestly, if this is going to be for my save file. Not my Wismore Hill one, that is Newcrest specific, but my kind of lifelong save file, if you will, but I'm unsure. I'm just coming around and dotting them all along the house. There's this extra bump out you see beside the longer bump out that I was messing around with the idea of having it be a sunroom. But with the way I was doing it, I don't know, it didn't feel quite as cozy as I wanted. I guess it felt a little bit fancier. You can see it on the left there, or sorry, the right. But yeah, it just felt a bit too ornate for what I was going for. And I also switched out the windows on the other bump out to the really pretty ones with the diagonal, I think it's called leading. When I was doing this in real time, I could not for the life of me figure out what it was called that divides the panes, and even now I still don't know what it is. If I can remember, I'll put it on the screen for you guys, but you might just have to do a deep dive of your own. But either way, those windows were from Get Together. And then on this front porch here, I picked columns from Life and Death with the most beautiful texturing ever. I'm pretty sure I'm going to give you a close-up shot in a second just because it's so scrumptious. And I used the matching fence from that pack as well. I mean, just look at it. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I am a sucker for anything with texture and grime. For those of you who are new to the channel, for those of you who aren't, I mean, you know this, that's like my favorite thing in the game. And I haven't gotten a chance to do like a full build with Life and Death just yet, but I definitely think I need to very, very soon because all of the build items in that pack are just like, I'm blown away by them. And so I really need to do a deep dive into that. I'm picking this flooring here from Vampires for the porch because it blends in really nicely with the wallpaper I use on the house, which is from Cottage Living. And I'm just going to come in and try to pick a front door. I was considering this one from Life and Death as well because, I mean, once again, look at the texture. It's so beautiful. But I decided that it was blending in a little too much, like there was a lot of the same color brown happening, so I do end up switching it out for a Cottage Living door that's actually red and matches the roof of the barn pretty well. And then I'll take this one and put it on the barn instead. And I think that was a bit of a better combo. This is the Cottage Living door here. I feel like I always use it in that orange swatch right there, but I decided today I would branch out and I would do it in the red swatch. I always use it in the orange on my fall build specifically just because, is there anything better? I don't think so. But the red was a really nice mesh between the roof and the chimney paint, so I decided to go with that. And the window I'm using beside it is also Cottage Living. Again, those beautiful diagonal panes, and the window at the top is slightly cracked open, which I thought was very cute. On the barn, I opted for these Life and Death windows because the framing actually blended in so well with the wallpaper that I used. Even though it was stone framing, but it was basically a perfect color match in the sunlight at least. It's slightly more noticeable in the shade, but I really liked it because it had the indoor latches there that looked like you could push it open and just have all the breeze come in, which I think would be kind of essential because the whole thing ends up being wood on the inside, and I feel like that would get hot very, very quick in like summer months and whatnot. And so that's what I went with up there, and I just thought it was really adorable. I'm onto the door now for the barn. Like I said, I picked the Life and Death one, and I put it in this brown swatch, I believe. But I think that all the texture on this barn just really helps make it. I wasn't really going for a realistic feel while I was doing this. It was more so whatever felt cozy and autumnal. So I wasn't too set on realism like I usually am, which was honestly a nice change of pace because I feel like sometimes there's a lot of cute things I want to do, but I tend not to do because I'm like, oh, you wouldn't see that in real life, so I can't put that in my build. But today I just let myself be creative and run wild. And this is what I came up with, and now I'm starting to think I should let myself do that a little bit more. I'm just putting these columns that I used on the porch all around the barn as some sort of framing device for the wallpaper. This wallpaper has built-in pillars, but I thought the contrast of these brown ones with actual dimension would be a lot nicer. I'm trying to find a door for the top of the barn now. I don't use this one because I didn't want to keep repeating it, so I go with this one from Cats and Dogs instead, which matches like so perfectly. I would guess that the wallpaper and the door are from the same pack if I didn't know any better, but they're from two separate packs from quite a few years apart, which is honestly kind of impressive that we have a match like that. But I just thought it was so pretty, and I am a sucker for knots in wood. Like, I love that extra bit of texture. I sound like a broken record at this point, but I thought that was very nice. And then I wanted the bottom of the barn to actually be stables for a couple of horses, because after all, this is a farm. And so I just put these sliding barn doors from Horse Ranch in this deep green color, which I felt was pretty fall. It's also giving a little bit Christmas, to be honest, with the roof, but I think the tones of them make them feel a bit more fall-like. I needed a window for beside the door, so I actually picked this green one from For Rent, which is the version that looks a little bit more worn, because as I said, I always think that those are the nicer looking objects, I guess, for my type of builds. But now we're going to come in and start detailing. So I'm looking for this ivy from Discover University Debug, and I'm just going to put it all around the house because it's beautiful, it's whimsical, it's magical, and the house needed it. It was lacking a lot of color, and what I like about adding the ivy is it's just like a pop of green, and I feel like if I had the green roof, the ivy wouldn't have stood out as much or have been as much of a feature as it is. So all in all, I'm very happy with the color scheme and the incorporation of green with the ivy and the landscaping instead of any actual items on the house. I'm also coming in and looking for a drain pipe. Of course, I'm using the trusty one from Businesses and Hobbies. I opt for it in more of this teal color because it has a nice bit of rust around the rings. Over here, I decided to switch it to the back porch instead of the sunroom, which I believe I said. I really do apologize if there's any things that I've repeated in this voiceover because I've actually done it a couple different times because I kept running into problems, and so now I'm in that headspace where I don't know what I've said and what I haven't said because I've like deleted and restarted so many times. So if there is any, overlapping statements, please forgive me. I'm adding in this light here from Strangerville. I thought it looked nice and kind of hand assembled, if you will. Like, they're not exactly professional light installers, but they tried their best, and I don't know, I thought it had a nice little charm to it. Something about the layout of all the items on the front of the barn is really satisfying to me. It's got like a really nice composition, if you will. But now we're moving on to one of the key features of this house, which is going to be the pond and the river area. So I'm just taking my terrain tool and lowering it a bit, and then once I have it at a decent depth, I'm going to take my flatten to height tool and just draw it all the way through and around, and then that way it's going to be all the same height and depth, and it makes it a little bit easier and more precise with the placement of the terrain. And then after that, I'll just come in and smooth it out so it doesn't look so choppy, but this is a pretty good way to get like a decent outline. I also think it looks a little bit like a liver or a kidney right now. I don't know which is the one I'm thinking of, but I do fix that. But what I really wanted for this house was to have a pond and have it so that in order to get to the front door, you had to cross over a little stone bridge, which is just, why can't I have that? That's all I want, a little stone bridge to get to my house. a little bit of extra whimsy. But the way I did that is, well, I'll actually get to it pretty soon, but I'm going to build a diagonal room and then just switch the walls to fences and it'll work perfectly. But I've just filled up the water there and I'm going to switch out the paint to more of a fall colored one. It's got like sticks and leaves in it and whatnot. But first you'll see me start to build the bridge here. I was trying to mess around with the placement of it. I didn't want it to be 3 tiles, even though that would center it because it'd be way too large. I end up just going for a 1 tile instead, which works perfectly because for some reason the diagonals are actually wider than a normal single tile if you're looking front on, and normally that can really bug me when I'm trying to do something like a kitchen and the counters aren't fitting properly, but for this purpose it actually worked in my favor because it was the perfect width that I needed to be and it was centered, so pretty happy with that. I switched the foundation to a stilt foundation for a moment just to get the water flowing through again, but I will actually switch it back to a stone foundation from Life and Death. As I'm doing this voiceover, it's currently October 17th. That means Halloween is swiftly approaching. I am not doing anything for actual Halloween, but we're having like a pre-Halloween hangout, I guess, with all of my friends, and we're gonna dress up and whatnot. I'm gonna go as Lara Croft. I was debating between her or a character, Kate Denson from Dead by Daylight, if any of you guys play that. But I decided for Lara Croft in the end, and I'm just curious if any of you guys are dressing up for Halloween, what you're gonna be. Last year, I think it was Rapunzel, and then the year before that, I believe I was Ella Enchanted, and then the year before that, I think I was Kim Possible. But I'm very happy that I get to do something Halloween this year. I didn't think I would get to since I'm not at college anymore, but it's nice because I'm going to see some of my college friends and we're still going to have some sort of Halloween get together. I talked over that whole bridge section there, but for now I end up using that fence from Castle Estates, but I do switch it out for a debug fence that I find in the Life and Death live edit menu. But now you can see I've come over and I'm trying to figure out the spacing for the farm plots. I want there to be space for cows, chickens, the horses are in the stable, but then I also wanted there to be farmland and whatnot, just so there's all sorts of farm country activities here. And so I'm just mapping that out with this fence from Life and Death, but I end up switching all the fences to a mixture of live edit ones because something about using these smaller fences on large areas never looks quite right to me. Like, it's very repetitive, and a lot of the time the live edit fences are larger in scale, and so it doesn't look as strange when they're taking up big sections because the pattern doesn't repeat as much. Now, as there usually is in my more recent videos, there has just been an extreme jump from what you just saw to what you see now, because I did all the landscaping off camera because that is my happy place. I love to have my iced latte, listen to music, and just place a couple of bushes in The Sims 4. And so that's what I did, but I'm showing you what I did. I took this live edit fence from Enchanted by Nature, which actually is really gorgeous, and I didn't see it when I was doing the pack overview, I don't think, but the texturing is so yummy. And just so that it's all still functional, I did fully fence it in with a low line one and then snap a gate to it, so it is completely enclosed. And then for the other fences, the chicken coop uses ones from Snowy Escape and the cow pen uses ones from Life and Death. And then here we're just going to take a second to appreciate this gorgeous little patch of sunlight when you switch to the morning light. It was just such a pretty corner that I discovered. Just the way the light hit that mushrooms was so magical. Like, you can't tell me a fairy doesn't live there. But now, to followify the build, if you will, we're going to go in and put around a whole bunch of pumpkins. I'm using these debug ones from Cottage Living, which your Sims can actually grow, but then I'm also going to use this decoration cluster from Seasons, and that one will go on the porch and whatnot as more of decoration. But I tried to stick with fall colors for all of my foliage, so it's like red, orange, yellow, and yeah, we're just gonna put around maybe too many pumpkins. I'm not sure I capped it anywhere, I just kind of placed until it felt right in my soul, and so that's where we ended up. I also pre-planted a bunch of pumpkin crops in that little farm section where I used the Enchanted by Nature fence over here. And I want to have it so that you could actually see them growing, but for some reason I wasn't able to cheat that, even though I have a mod that's supposed to let me, but it wasn't working, so, you know, I watered them and that's as far as I got. But I think it'll do, at least they'll grow at some point, right? I hope. Fingers crossed, I'm not sure. For the floor plan, we have an entranceway, a hallway, a dining room, living room, kitchen, mudroom, bathroom, another hallway, a nursery, the parents' room, a bathroom, the kids' room, and then the hangout space. We're gonna start in the entranceway here. I always like to start with my entranceways because I feel like they kind of set the mood. It's like a little test of how I want the house to look and the aesthetic and whatnot. I really liked all the stone in here. I just felt like it instantly felt very cottage or farmhouse. And so I'm just coming through and picking a rug. I find this season's one which has leaves on it, and I mean, if that's not the perfect fall mat, then I don't know what is. Originally I was going to use it both on the inside and the outside, but then I thought that's maybe a bit much and a bit repetitive, so I end up just putting it on the outside here, which is just so cute beside that stack of pumpkins. And because the porch felt a little bit sparse, I'm going to find a chair. I believe I use a rocking chair just to make it feel cozy, and you could sit out here with a cup of tea, listen to the leaves fall and rustle in the wind. It seems like a very magical place. And then I also just throw in a plant from Cottage Living. Now moving back inside, I want a little hallway table, and I'm gonna pick this one from Adventure Awaits. Again, it's got that knots in the wood texture, and I just think it was super cute, and I don't think I use it in any of my Adventure Awaits builds, so I decided to try it. Here you see I switch out the rug because I thought maybe it's a little bit much. I like to start with all of my bigger objects first and then work my way down to the smaller ones. So I get big objects and then I'll do all the little decorating and clutter. And so I deem a rug a big object and one of the essential ones before I start cluttering. And I feel like it just kind of helps define the space, if you will. I mean, I'm no in real life interior decorator. I mean, I decorate my own space and I like it, but I don't decorate other people's spaces, so this is just my process, and I don't even know if that's a thing in real life, but I mean, it works well in game, so I figured it would translate. And the rug I end up using actually is from Laundry Day, and I thought it had some nice warm tones and I like the little fringe on it. Then I'll throw in this mirror from Cottage Living, from Growing Together, and it looks like a standing mirror a little bit, but it actually rests on the wall, so it leaves space for your Sims. I was considering moving the table over to the staircase there, but I decided to keep it against the window, and then over by the staircase I'll put a little seating spot. I was thinking maybe this new couch, but once again I tried to resist because I felt kind of bad using a new pack, and it was maybe a little big for the space, so instead I just used this chair from Cottage Living, which is probably one of my most used living chairs. I love the swatches, I love the shape, it's just so good. Honestly, everything from that pack is really good. If you guys have ever been wondering about what pack to get, Cottage Living is definitely high up there on my recommended list. And then for beside it, I really wanted this dried plant from Dream Home Decorator because it felt very autumnal. Now we can get into the fun part, which is picking the decorations. Except I lied because we're going to do the curtains next instead. I thought it was decoration time, but it's not. I was considering, again, these new ones from the new pack. How many times can I say that? But these curtains are so fall. They just have so many plaid swatches in so many fall colors. And I really wanted to use them, but they were kind of blocking the window a little bit more than I wanted, and I wanted to kind of save them for elsewhere. I think perhaps I go with these ones from Discover University in a green swatch. Yeah, I think I picked this one, the olive green. They were sticking out from the wall too much though, and I could just pull the table out, but then I felt like the space was getting a bit cramped. So I actually just took the tool mod and then holding Alt and clicking on the wall, I pulled it into the wall so that I would have more space for the table to sit flush against the wall. Did you guys follow that? Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. Also, in case you guys are curious, if you're seeing a swatch tray show up on the side, that is the Better Build and Buy mod by Twisted Mexi, and then the tool mod is also by Twisted Mexi, and I always have them linked in my description because I use them in every single video. For most of this video, I try to save you all the hassle of watching me scroll through and pick out decorations, but I do let you watch me place them. And here I put a little harvest basket from For Rent, and I also put this debug bowl of acorns because I thought it would be so cute if while the parents are out harvesting their crops, like the kids are out harvesting their vegetables, which are actually just acorns and whatnot, so that they can feel like they're helping their parent. I mean, maybe they do sometimes help in the actual garden, but I thought the idea of them collecting acorns while their parents collect like crops was so precious. And in a similar vein, I take these individual rain boots from the Grange Mudroom kit, and I put a big size and a small size with like the parents' rain boots and the kids' rain boots. I thought that was so cute. This house just ends up being so wholesome and whimsical. Essentially, I mean, I guess I'll just tell you a little bit of the plot now. I want it to be so that the parents are, I mean, they like to do a lot of handmade stuff. They're big into living off the land and whatnot, and like crafting. And then I was thinking that the two kid sims are actually really into fairies, and they're basically trying to find fairies and befriend fairies, kind of like that girl from Tinkerbell. And I thought it would be so cute if they like run around their yard and the pond and like set up fairy homes or check for fairy prints and things like that. And the parents kind of get in on it and then leave little like fairy clues and whatnot for the kids to find. But the kids don't know that it's the parents doing it, so they actually think fairies are real. And I thought that would be so precious. I don't actually know how much you could like play that out in gameplay, but I put a lot of decor like that in their room, which you'll see. And I just thought it was the most precious idea ever, and it reminded me of my childhood, and I got nostalgic, and I thought it was so sweet. But that's my kind of brief overview, I guess. There's a little bit more I could get into, maybe? I'm honestly not sure how much more in depth I got beyond that, but that really just kind of clicked to me once I started doing their bedroom, so I'll explain a little bit more when I get there. But anyways, you can see now we have moved on into the kitchen. I have an exposed brick going on the inside, which is Discover University, and I just love the addition of that in this kitchen because it makes it feel very cottagey to me. I was playing around with the idea of an island, but I decided a little dining table in here would be even cuter as like a little breakfast nook. Originally I was going to use this table from Cottage Living with a really adorable print, but then I think I switched it out for the one from Adventure Awaits actually, with the kind of linoleum top because it has the perfect burgundy color, this one here, and once again it's a worn swatch, so of course I'm going to use it. As of now, I'm using these Cottage Living chairs because I thought they were super cute, but I ended up putting those in the main dining room, which you'll see later. But the cabinets are Cottage Living, in case I didn't say that. And you can see that I had a whole bunch picked out at the start, so I could kind of figure out which was best. And I was kind of thinking of using the Life and Death ones, but they felt too pristine, I guess, so I didn't use those. But I do end up using the cabinet version of the Life and Death counters because they have the same swatch, but they have like a glass pane in it and whatnot, and I thought it paired really nicely with the Cottage Living stuff. And I'm just scrolling through and looking for a fridge right now. I think I decide on a pale yellow one of this version. It's like a Smeg fridge basically. I realized though that I wanted to come back and put on a couple of like sticky notes and drawings just to make it feel even more homey, which I don't do in the footage, but I might actually quickly do before I put it on the gallery. But for the stove, I was looking through different ones, but then I decided that I would go with this one from Parenthood because it had the perfect kind of teal Viridian color scheme that I was going for that matched the counters. And then for the sink, I used the matching one from Cottage Living that makes it look like built in and flush with the counters. And it's kind of like a farmhouse style sink, and it's got a little chicken on it, which is just so cute. I was a little torn on placement, but I opted for in front of the window there. And then I was trying to figure out which cabinets would have stuff on it and which wouldn't, or which counters rather, because I wanted it all to be functional. But once I had all my big objects in, I decided to look for my rug, and I went with the one from Werewolves because, I mean, look at it. There's no better rug in the game, so I hope you all like this rug because I use it at least 5 times in the build. I thought the default swatch suited this kitchen the best. I just love how much extra colors it adds, or how it unifies all the colors that are already in the room. Like it's got the red, it's got the green, it's got a little bit of the yellow. I think I even played around with the idea of putting in that linoleum that I used in the bathroom, but I end up going for the stone instead. And I like the stone over the wood in here because once again, it just feels very cottagey. And I also like that there's a little back door to take you out to the backyard from the kitchen, because I feel like in the summer when it's getting hot and like they're baking pies or something, they can crack the door open to get a little bit of a breeze going, and I thought that was adorable. Here you can see that I'm deciding to switch to the life and death cabinet because I mean pretty accurate color match, and the one from Cottage Living was just feeling a bit repetitive because it's got like this open shelf at the bottom of it, so you can't really use it multiple times without it looking a little bit funny. And so I thought these ones from Life and Death would just be a better substitute, and since I don't really get to use them often, I thought now would be a good time. I mainly went with this half cabinet style just because of the amount of windows I had here, and then I tried to keep the main cabinets or the larger cabinets to the corners of the walls. I'm bringing in a couple of appliances now, so I've used this microwave from the Restoration Workshop kit, and then I'm using this kettle from Adventure Awaits. Now I will say it's one of those items that's like the bonus content where you have to buy the pack before a certain date to get this item, which I think is kind of dumb because you're already spending so much money on the packs. I feel like the least you could get is, you know, all the objects instead of paying what, like $55 in Canadian and still not having 3 of the objects. I think it's a whole goofy setup, but I thought it was really cute and I felt like it suited the build, so I added it anyways. But if you don't have that, you can use one of the ones from For Rent, which is where most of the kettles come from anyways. But just there, I was trying to explain that I was going to leave that counter empty for prep so that the kitchen's functional, but I actually end up leaving this one where the dishwasher is empty, so that's where your Sims prep. And I used it in the same Parenthood swatch that matches the stove, and then it kind of looks like a whole built-in unit. Jump cut to all of the clutter I pulled out. A little scary, I know, but I'll take you through it. It's nothing to be scared about. I broke it up into 2 categories, so I have clutter on one side and then I guess plants and lighting on the other, because I wanted to make sure there was still decoration. I also decided I should probably put in a smoke detector. I'm also going to take out my very trusty Dream Home Decorator shelf, and this way I can have my objects not snap to surfaces, but sit at the height of surfaces that they don't usually snap to. That sounds so confusing, but it'll basically just let me place stuff on the microwave. I pulled out this little grocery bag. There I was just explaining that I'm going to leave the other counter free, but it's from the kitchen clutter kit. And then there's this vase from Horse Ranch. I wanted to use this new utensil holder from Adventure Waits because it's the perfect fall colors and it has a little deer on it. And I just thought since I'm building a fall house, I couldn't not include it. But in combination with that, I also used the ones from Horse Ranch. So, I mean, you've got 2 options there. And then I was just adjusting some of the colors to make them more fall-like. I wanted to have this vampire's lamp on the counter, but for some reason it wouldn't snap to the counters, even if it was completely empty, which I thought was pretty strange because all lamps do. I don't know why that one was any different because it's like a normal size too. So in the end, I am just going to raise it up onto the counter and kind of nestle it in. But some of the clutter I wanted to use on the breakfast table as well, so I just put a couple things over there. Once I had the lamp over in that corner by the microwave, I felt like it was way too cramped with the grocery bag. So instead, I put this hutch from Cottage Living over in this corner, and I put the grocery bag over there mixed with this little coin jar from Everyday Clutter, and then this key and sunglass unit from the Grange Mudroom kit. And then I thought that was so cute because it looks like this is their station when they're just getting in from grocery shopping or something. They just put everything down on a counter, except it like all happens on this hutch. I felt like that was a nice little realistic touch. And since I was blocking the main clutter on the hutch, I actually merged in my own books so it wouldn't look quite as empty. And then here I'm actually merging the fire alarm into this wicker basket unit from Laundry Day. And while I was doing this, I was trying to explain that I've seen people do this before, like they'll hide breaker boxes or like thermostats or something behind a wicker basket and then put some like dried plants in it, and it's actually adorable, which is basically what I was trying to do with the fire alarm, but I failed miserably because obviously I can't hide it because it sits flush with the wall. And then I thought it'd be a good idea to put in the burglar alarm and the temperature control just in case, even though I do come in and add radiators everywhere, which are from for rent, but then the thermostat is from Seasons, and I don't know if you need both or if you just need one. I'm not sure how that works because I don't really do gameplay. But I put in this super cute little succulent plant from Enchanted by Nature, which had like orange tips, and I thought it was so cute and so autumnal, so I put that in. And I'm just trying to figure out the layout of the other clutter here. I was almost going to clutter up that dishwasher cabinet, but then I realized I can't, so because I want to have a functional kitchen. When I do my realistic family homes, I feel like it's common for me to forget to put like actual decorations and just do clutter. So I was trying to be pretty mindful of that in this house. I wanted there to feel like there was actual decorations and it wasn't all just like stuff. And so I'm using a collection of plants here. The individual one is from Adventure Awaits. Then the one behind that is Eco Lifestyle. The bird statue is Lovestruck. And the candle is Businesses and Hobbies Debug. Whoa. And then I'm also going to put a couple of jars because maybe they're pickling some of the vegetables from their garden. Thought that was a really cute touch. I want to play with this house. But I feel like whenever I do gameplay, it's always rags to riches because I get bored if my Sims have money because suddenly I don't have to make them grind anymore. And it's like, what's the point? But I don't know. I feel like it could be fun to do like a day of gameplay just in this house because it's so cute and I want to see it in action. But I think I'm going to make a short about this house, just like little cozy clips of my favorite sections of it because I think that would be so adorable. And I just put that little soap clutter item from the kitchen clutter kit, which I use every single time I build a kitchen now, honestly. It's because of the sponge. Like, it's so accurate. I have sponges like that. I think many people have sponges like that. I just love the extra touch that it adds. And I also put a candle because we keep a candle by our sink and it's pretty cozy. That's basically all the clutter for most of the counters. I'll do a little bit of extra pieces over here by the kettle. That little tea stand thing is, once again, kitchen clutter kit. I feel like it gets really repetitive when I try to tell you where all this stuff is from. But then I'm also going to throw in these jars from Cottage Living, and I'm going to switch them to the cute green swatch. It still has the fruits on it, but I don't know, felt maybe more autumnal than pink. This one here, even though it's kind of giving summer a little bit, but I think it's very cute either way. Lastly, I wanted something for this back wall, and on brand with that woven unit I used from Laundry Day, I decided to use this basket set and I think maybe a couple hat sets from For Rent. Just blanked on that, but it had the perfect color scheme and I liked that it made it feel like there was clutter in that area even though I couldn't put it on the counter. I was playing around with the thought of having a little hand towel, but I felt a little bit lazy to delete the wall and try to, all place it onto the sink, so I opted not for that, and instead I turned to curtains. I was considering those half ones from Growing Together, but in the end I believe I go with the ones from Cats and Dogs, like those half curtains. In the most remarkable color swatch too, you'll see me switch to it in just a second. This one here, it's like an orange and purple tartan. Oh my gosh, with the cabinets, I would probably sell all of my kidneys just to have this kitchen. I think it's so precious and it's so warm and it's so cozy and I want to live here, and it sucks that this is just pixels. But I guess that's a mark of a build well done if I really want to live there. But because I can't forget to clutter any surface, I have moved over to the breakfast nook now, and I add around a bunch of candlesticks throughout this build. You'll see that while I was talking in real time, I was saying that it might not be the most realistic for certain places that I put them, like in a kid's room. But I mean, they just had an instant touch of whimsy and magical coziness. And so I added them. And then I was also thinking this house has a dog or a cat or something. And so I put in a couple of pet bowls too, so that you can meet all your pet requirements. I put 2 because I like to pretend there's a water and a food dish, even though they just need the one dish, because you don't have to give your pets water in The Sims. Mysterious. Because you don't really have to give your Sims water either, but I don't know. I put 2 anyways, and then I also used the same fall mat again because it's just so cute. I also put this bird food debug object from, I believe it's Backyard Stuff, just because I like to pretend that it's pet food sometimes, even though there's a bird on it, but I don't know. Maybe the dog likes to have bird food. I'm not here to judge. Lastly, I threw in this really fall picture from Cats and Dogs. It's got all the fall foliage. It even has a little dog on there. I thought it was perfect, so I kept it. Moving on, we're now in the living room. You can see I have a lot of couches pulled out because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go with, and I was trying to see all my options up close. In the end, I picked this Growing Together one and this Basement Treasures one, which is the green one. And I thought the green was just so perfect, and I couldn't not use it in a fall build. Olive green is just so fall to me, and my favorite color. How am I not supposed to use it? And paired with this warm brown, divine. Love it. I was trying to figure out the layout a little bit. I have a lot of spots for chimneys, yet I don't exactly place the chimneys in the realistic spots. But like I said, I'm not going for full realism in this house. I'm just going for cuteness. And so I decided to use this cottage living one on this wall, even though there's no chimney there. But honestly, it's close enough to the chimney that it doesn't actually bug me too bad, because the chimney's like on the floor above. But I thought this one would be really cute and kind of match the stone from the outside. And then I was thinking about putting the TV on the mantle, but I thought a little side table with the TV would be a lot more charming. So I used this one from Discover University, and I thought an older TV suited them, like something boxier. I was going to try this base game one, but then I decided that the one from Basement Treasures looked a little cuter because it's got the wooden frame to it. I sized it up really big, and then I actually sized it down with the tool mod, so it's somewhere in between the initial size and the sized up version. But I thought it was a nice little touch. You'll see I have now picked rug. I went back and forth with rugs for way longer than was necessary. Right now I have this one from Growing Together, but I will switch it out to one from Werewolves again, because I can't stop using it. It's such a pretty rug. Looking back, I don't mind the one I picked from Life and Death, so maybe I could have gone with it, but I don't know. It felt a little bit out of place at the time. But that really cute coffee table is from Growing Together. And throughout this house, I tried to go for more of that orangey wood tone because it just feels very fall to me. Honestly, I think it's something from a Simlicy build ages ago. I'm talking years ago. She did a fall house and she used a lot of this wood tone, and something in my brain just switched, and all of a sudden it was my favorite wood tone swatch in the game. And that hasn't left me since. So I decided to just stick with that and pay homage to one of the builders that inspired me. I'm not actually sure Simlicy posts anymore, but I loved her videos and I will watch them all the time. But now I'm coming over and decorating this side table. I picked this one from Horse Ranch, paired with this lamp that I was saying reminds me of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. That's from Get Famous. But I picked the Horse Ranch side table because it had the perfect green color to match what we were using in the kitchen, so it was a nice little callback. I used some of the live houseplants from Enchanted by Nature, and a candle, and a mug, and a TV remote, just to add a little bit of a lived-in feel here and there. And then, of course, just switching out some of the swatches, so it felt a little bit cozier. I wasn't too sure what to put in this corner. I felt like I needed some height behind the TV, but I didn't really know what to put, like if it should be a big plant or a lamp or You know what? Now that I think about it, I feel like a diagonal wall could have worked just fine. But in the end, I decided to go with this base game lamp and this plant from For Rent. The wall felt a little bit sparse, so I'm going to throw in this picture from Cottage Living. Again, that same orangey wood tone. And here I'm going to show you a little paint hack, a painting placement hack. Basically, if you want something to rest on your fireplace, you're going to remove the wall behind it and then raise up the painting that you want to be on the fireplace and scooch it a little bit back so it looks like it's touching the fireplace, and then it just looks like the pictures are mounted, and it's so perfect. I love using this combination from Lovestruck because the shape of it fits so perfectly, and I just love all the little sizes of all the pictures. So cute. Now in this room I decided to use the curtains from Adventure Awaits, which I love, but they don't come with a matching mount to that wood piece at the top, which drives me absolutely insane. I can't even explain it. So I tried to make my own makeshift thing with the mount pieces from Desert Luxe. And then hopefully it looks a little more consistent. But here I had to put the most perfect fall basket, which has a little pumpkin on it. It's, once again, Cottage Living. One of my favorite items from that pack, and just honestly the game. It's just instant coziness, and it has so many cute swatches too. And here I'm using the new pillows from the rewards event. Once again, people, I urge you, go to the event if you want free build items. You don't have to pay for it. All you have to do is like a couple of in-game quests. And like, I'm not being sponsored to say that. Like, I just think free items are the best. And who doesn't want a free throw pillow? And I honestly like these ones better than the other one we have because it's got a lot more weight to it. Less swatches, but more texture and more weight. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to each, but if you want free build items, do the event. I think it's probably over soon, but that is my final plea for you guys. I think I told you about 10 times in my Gilmore Girls video to go do it. But anyways, I digress. Here's the little mantelpiece. I didn't decorate it too much because I wanted the picture to be the star of the show. So I just threw in a couple of little trinket items like a candle and a plant. And this is kind of the final overview of the living room. There will be a complete in-depth tour at the end, so do not fret. And now we've moved on over to this gorgeous room, which is going to be the dining room. I love how this one came out. I think the emerald green wallpaper to kind of call back to the kitchen was so scrumptious. This wallpaper is from Life and Death. Same with the one in the living room. But in combination with that, I use this gorgeous rug from Adventure Awaits. It's my new favorite rug of all time. And I use it in this swatch that's like green. It's got the little frills. It's so perfect. But in combination with that, I use these leaf curtains from Dream Home Decorator, which once again, perfect for the build because it's a fall themed build. And I use this cats and dogs table because it had the perfect color swatch that I needed. And to brighten the room up, I use a Cottage Living chandelier. And I end up putting this chandelier in all of the rooms by the end of it. I always build with saucer lights because it's easier to see everything that I'm placing. But once I'm done with the build, I like to go back and switch out some of the lighting sometimes, just so that way it looks a bit cuter. Here I'm showing you the gorgeous plaid swatch on the Adventure Awaits chair. It's so pretty, it's so fall, and so I decided that it would suit the kitchen really well because it had like a bit more color variety in it. And then instead I would put the Cottage Living ones in the dining room. So that was my little chair adjustment there. And I think it paid off really well. I was exploring some of the other swatches, but the yellow was just too good to pass up. So I'm just going to put all of these chairs around this table. And then this is more of like their formal dining area. I like that it's a formal dining area, but it still feels very cozy. Like I would love to be invited to a dinner party hosted in this room. And since I had this little nook spot, I was considering putting a desk in here, but I thought that might be a little bit odd for a dining room. And in the end, I decided that a bar would do just fine. I was a little torn on what one to use, but I go with this one from Desert Luxe because it had the wooden countertop. For some extra decorations in this room, I'm going to throw in this painting from Horse Ranch, this plant from Base Game. I'm going to switch it to a brown swatch. Then I'll also put in this little wood oven fireplace and this cute little stack from Adventure Awaits with the little tartan book holder and the suitcase and the lantern. It was too fall to pass up. I had to add it. And then I'll also put the fire tools and this stack of logs from Werewolves, which actually comes with a little mossy swatch that I didn't know existed. It's so precious. Over here, I put a little blackboard. I thought it'd be so cute if this family writes out their meals or what's being served for the day on this corkboard, just to romanticize it a little bit. Like it feels a bit more like a restaurant or something. And honestly, I want to do this in my own life now because I feel like that'd be such a cute way to romanticize having to cook dinner. If I made it like I have my own little menu kind of thing, thought that'd be adorable. And then I follified the dining table, for lack of a better description. I put the leaf garland from Seasons, a little rooster, and a couple of candlesticks. And then I'll clutter up this bar area here just so it doesn't feel as sparse. Very simple, but very charming, I think. And that's the dining room complete. Next up, we're going to work on the mudroom here. I've already pulled out the washer and dryer that I want to use and put them underneath the window. I just feel like doing laundry with a little bit of a breeze coming in is so nice. I don't know what it is with me and breezes today, but I love a fall breeze. So the slightly open window, the thought of a door being open while you're baking, it just seems so magical. And I'm trying to figure out a hutch to put over here. I was thinking this one from Eco Lifestyle, but I've been using it a lot recently, and I figured I should give some love to some other objects. But this one's just so perfect for a laundry room because it already has built-in like towels and pillows and linens. But once again, I think I've been overusing it, so I thought I would branch out. And instead, I'll use one from Laundry Day, which works perfectly because it's got a burgundy swatch to it, which the more fall colors, the merrier. So it did mean I had to add all of my own individual clutter, but I figured it was worth the hassle for such a good reward. You'll see me get to that in a bit, but once again, I'm just focusing on the big objects first. I'm throwing in this precious quilt from Life and Death. I love this object so much. I wish we had more just like blanket objects. Now picture this, that hanging blanket, but instead of a shelf, you can put it on the back of a sofa. Let's all just imagine a world where that is possible in The Sims. What I would give to have throw blankets in this game. I suppose the next best thing is to just put it on the wall though. Underneath that, I put some laundry hampers. I've been doing this more recently where they go under or beside the washing machine instead of in the bedroom, which is what I'm explaining here, because when you have them in the bedrooms, your Sims have to go all the way upstairs, then bring it all the way downstairs, and next thing you know, it's been 2 in-game hours and the clothes are not in the washing machine yet. So I thought I would save you some gameplay hassle and just put them all in the same room. Now I found this basket of cozies that I'm gonna put over here, but I also was maybe thinking of reusing the one from Cottage Living. And then I thought, well, there's gonna be an infant, so why not put a little diaper rack in here, which I thought would be really handy. I just really like this laundry room. I think it's so cozy and is one I would really like to have myself. If I had a laundry room like this, I would want to do laundry every single day. Is that an exaggeration? Maybe a little bit, but yeah, I thought this was super cute, and it's just a base game item, so that's always nice. And then I thought it would be handy to throw in the decoration box from Seasons so that if you wanted your Sims to put up seasonal decorations, they could. So I just put that over there, and then I think I put one thing beside it, but I can't remember what that is. Okay, jump cut again. Now we have all the decorations pulled out. Alarming, I know, but once again, I'll take you through it. It's okay. It looks scary, but it gets better. Those little jars on the shelves are just to fill up the automatic slots so I can place my items more freely. So I'll put this blanket basket from Eco Lifestyle up here. Over here, I'll just put some base game towels that I'm gonna stack on top of each other just to build up a bit of a linen closet here. And once again, I'll switch all the swatches in a minute. I just like to get my items in place before I mess with the swatches and all of that. I also had this little t-shirt stack, which is from Laundry Day Debug, But I realize now that we do have a base game version of this. That's like an actual object. So I probably should have put that in instead. But on the top shelf, I thought I'd be real smart and put all the cleaning supplies and laundry detergent and anything that could be hazardous to a child. So there's my little touch of realism in this build. But most of the items on this shelf are from Get Famous, and then the bottle in the front is from Laundry Day. Same with this cleaning caddy here, that's also Laundry Day. I also threw in this little woven basket, which comes with for rent. Some unlockable item. I don't know how you unlock it without cheats, like in gameplay, but I thought it was super cute, and I mean, wicker just feels very Laundry Day, so I thought I would throw it in there, and I thought that was nice, and it came in a really good color swatch. And then I'm just going to switch out the swatches of these objects. That's quite the tongue twister, isn't it? Switch out these swatches. But I apparently was very indecisive about it. Surprise, surprise, who would have thought? And then I was playing around with this basket one too. But unfortunately only the basket changes there instead of like the pillows and stuff. And then the satisfying part is deleting all the placeholder objects. And then looking at your work completed. Ta-da! Okay, now we're going to move on to the actual washing machine. I put a bit of clutter here. I found this really cute mushroom sculpture from Life and Death. I put it to the one with the red and white spots. And then I'll actually switch out that big one in the back to a bunny from Cottage Living. But all this mushroom talk makes me realize you might have noticed a couple of red mushrooms dotted around the outside, which are actually mushrooms from the Enchanted by Nature live edit menu. And I just took them and sized them down and dotted them around the yard because I thought it looked fall and whimsical. And so I just wanted to mention that because I don't think I said anything when, you know, we were on the outside. But I threw in this curtain here from Cats and Dogs. At least I keep this curtain. I can't quite remember what swatch I put it in. This whole time while I was talking in real time and then it didn't transfer, this whole time I was trying to talk about how I was going to use the Cats and Dogs curtain and then I would delete it and use something else. So that's why I'm a little bit unsure about what I actually go with. But I actually do think I keep this one. Then I put this base game laundry basket on top of it as though they had just pulled stuff out of the dryer and were folding it. And then this stack of baskets, once again from Laundry Day, I raised that up and put it on top of these chairs from the Basement Treasures kit. And then it's just like a whole little stack of extra items in case they have guests and need extra chairs or just need extra hampers. But I thought it was a cute way to fill up that corner there instead of just putting in a plant like I usually do. But I did decide to throw a plant on top of the dryer, which now that I'm thinking about it, maybe not a smart idea because the plant would probably get too hot and would probably not make it very long, but it at least looks cute and that's not a thing that happens in The Sims, so I'm gonna let it slide. I'm going through and looking for the bunny from Cottage Living now, which I thought would be perfect. It's in the same sort of vein as that mushroom. It's like an object holding a flower, or like a thing holding a flower. So I thought it was really cute and they kind of looked like they were meant to be together. And this swatch was particularly fall-like. And then I'll just switch up a couple of other swatches, and that's essentially the whole living room, except for the snowy escape rug. I put a white fluffy rug in the laundry room. Hindsight is 2020, you know, it's not the best idea to put a white fluffy rug in a mud room, but anyways. Now we're on to the parents' bedroom. Once again, I have a lot of different beds pulled out because I was trying to see what would work best. From left to right, we have Cats and Dogs, Cottage Living, Life and Death. And then the one I'm actually going to end up using is from For Rent, though I am exploring some other options right now. This one here is the one I use. It just had the most perfect fall swatches. Moment of appreciation for this bed. I really liked that swatch, but then I also liked this lighter one because it had a bit of green on the throw blanket there, and it was just too perfect to pass up. And it was a little bit different from what I usually do in my fall builds. Like typically I'd probably go for the Cottage Living or Cats and Dogs one, but I thought I would mix it up today, step out of my comfort zone, and use this one instead. Which I'm really glad I did because it just feels so cozy in here, especially with the drapery. And I like all the patterns too. Arguably, it might be too many patterns, but as a maximalist, I love it. Also, I should mention this wallpaper is from Realm of Magic. It's so gorgeous. I think, truthfully, Realm of Magic has to have some of my favorite indoor wallpapers. Like between this one and the tile one, I don't know what the Sims team was on when they picked those wallpapers and made the wallpapers, but they really cooked with it, and that's all I can say. Here I'm trying to pick out a side table, once again pointing out the knots in the wood. There are so many aspects of this video that could probably be turned into a drinking game. But anyways, I picked these tables and I picked them in a slightly different wood swatch because I thought maybe I shouldn't have it all be matchy-matchy. I was debating a couple of different curtains. I thought maybe these teal ones from Desert Luxe would be nice. But in the end, I actually go with these base game ones, which are really big, heavy drapes in this hunter green color. And I thought that paired really nicely and kind of broke up all the warm tones in here. I'm going to come through now and pick a rug. I bet you can't guess which one I'm going to pick. It's really hard. Who could have seen this one coming? It's werewolves. I picked it in this more Viridian color again though because it matches the kitchen. Again, a nice little callback, and it's got like bits of brown in there too. It's just so perfect. There's a swatch on this rug for absolutely everything. If you've ever wanted another pack recommendation, I would say werewolves. But I also do a lot of like grungier style builds, so it works perfectly for that. But I would buy the pack for the rug alone. And honestly, the world. I love the world. It's very like heavily forested, and I like that it just feels kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it is really small, so like keep that in mind. But from a build standpoint, I think werewolves is really nice. And I threw in this dresser from Growing Together, which had a really good swatch, felt very autumnal. I was considering the blue, but I opted for the warm tone instead. And then I needed a mirror, so I used this gorgeous one from the Basement Treasures kit. I opted for the version that has the paintings in front of it just because I thought a little bit of extra clutter could be cute, but there is the version without it. But I don't know, I preferred it with the paintings. And then this middle part of the room felt a little bit empty, so I thought I could add a little bit of seating here. I was considering an ottoman of sorts, but they weren't really speaking to me. So instead I picked this bench from Horse Ranch, which has some gingham patterns on it, and I picked the yellow swatch because it just felt so adorable. I think I picked the plain one for now, but I'm pretty sure I switch it back to the gingham one. And then I was finding a few plants for this corner. I used the cottage living one again because the last time I used it I think was downstairs on the porch, so I thought it would be okay to use it up here. Now I'm going to show you yet another painting hack. I really wanted this warm fall photo from Horse Ranch, but I didn't like the black frame. So I found this cottage living one that sized up perfectly to cover it, but obviously you're able to see the cottage living picture right now. So what I did is I took the tool mod and then holding Alt, I just clicked on the wall to drag the frame back a little bit until the the Horse Ranch photo was showing, but the cottage living frame was showing as well. Poorly explained verbally, but hopefully explained better visually. Either way, it was just a good way to make use of a painting that I don't often use, usually because I don't like that it has a black frame because I don't build with black furniture, so often that feels out of place. And it was a hack I discovered while I was doing this, so I thought I'd share it. Now I'm quickly just cluttering up the side tables here. I opted for the same style of lamp, but different swatches. And so I used this cats and dogs one with the stained glass features. And I switched it to a warm yellow light so that it'd be even warmer in here, even cozier. And I was just trying to alt place the objects to get it a bit more specific. And it was actually pretty accurate the first time around, so I didn't have to do too much there. And then of course just switching out swatches yet again to make it feel more cohesive in here. I also threw in a dog bed up here because I didn't have it anywhere else, so I thought in the parents' room would be cozy. Actually delete that basket right beside it so that it can fit a little bit better. And then here's a sconce from Life and Death, so gorgeous. And then now we're on to the nursery. I really wanted the nursery to feel as woodland and fall as I could possibly get it. So the wallpaper is Adventure Awaits. Such a scrumptious wallpaper. Look at the linen texture on it. It's so good. I love this pack. But I was trying to immediately pull out all the woodsy items I could think of. And originally I was going to go for a toddler once I saw that bed from Werewolves. But then I saw the crib from Enchanted by Nature. And then I went on a tangent about how nostalgic this bed makes me, because I had a Mapelia doll growing up, Shadow Leone, which is the Canadian version of American Girl dolls. And my papa built me a custom bed for my doll because the real beds were so expensive. And then my grandma sewed her a baby quilt and little pillows with her name stitched onto it. Just the most precious item I own. And she even hand painted little flowers on it. I should probably take a picture and put it up because it is the most sacred object I own, honestly. I still have it and it's just, oh, it made me so nostalgic. But basically I was trying to say that the felt of the bedding on the crib reminded me of the felt of the bedding on my doll's bed. And that's what my whole tangent was about. It was specifically that red swatch I showed you with like the little fairies on it. But yeah, it just really made me nostalgic. It was so sweet and comforting. So, I mean, I couldn't not use the bed at that point once I had an emotional attachment to it. Even though it does look a bit more whimsical in terms of bed frame, I figured it was okay because I'm imagining one of the parents are like a carpenter or something, so they're used to building things. Then over here, I just put a little bit of clutter on the diaper changing table here. For the rug, I used the leaf one from Enchanted by Nature. And then I found all of these little leaf garlands from Seasons Debug to just put everywhere. And then I found this little card collection, which I thought would be so cute if it's like the Kid Sims have made this for their younger sibling to put up in their room and whatnot and just kind of welcome them to the world. So I thought that was really precious. And then I've just put a couple of little decorations here on the side table. I think this is probably where maybe like the parent reads to the infant or something. But then following the mushroom theme, I added a little mushroom toy from Enchanted by Nature and the wolf one from Werewolves. This room just turned out so cozy and precious. Onto the kids' room, I picked wallpaper after wallpaper after wallpaper after wallpaper after wallpaper, and it went on and on and on. And it will go on some more. I kid you not, I could not figure out the wallpaper for the life of me. But I moved on to this little craft table from Snowy Escape because look at how adorable it is. It's got little origami, it's got Copic markers. I want this table in real life. Then I also added this little dollhouse from Eco Lifestyle and this dresser from Parenthood because it had more of that teal swatch to kind of match the wallpaper. And I thought I really liked this wallpaper, but for some reason it wasn't really working for me. And then I thought maybe a rug would help me because maybe it could unify all of the mixed colors in here. So I perused and I looked. I thought this woven one, which never fails me, from Cats and Dogs would work. But today it failed me, I have to be honest. It didn't work how I wanted. So, you know, the hunt continued. And since the rugs weren't doing me any favors, I decided to go back to wallpaper and wallpaper and wallpaper and wallpaper and wallpaper. Until I found this wallpaper from Cottage Living again with this rug. And then I found these bed swatches from Horse Ranch and these orange curtains. And suddenly it was clear to me, the vision came to life. I had created the most magical and whimsical kids' bedroom I could possibly think of. And then I thought, with a room as magical as this, with a rug with a literal unicorn, how could I not make this for a couple of kid Sims trying desperately to find some fairies? And so that's what I went with. And honestly, this has to be my favorite kids room I've ever done. I've never done anything quite in this theme, but it's just, I keep saying it, whimsical. But it's the color combo too, like the mix of the teal, the yellow, and the orange is just so scrumptious. And I found this little fairy planter pot that from there, I knew what these Sims were about. So I put in as much fairy clutter as I could find, and I was thinking maybe these are fairy homes that they've made or their parents have made and maybe hid around and then they found them and they were hoping a fairy would come. And so I perused a little bit more. I took this picture here with the plant sim mushroom hat lady, again from Enchanted by Nature. And then of course I had to throw in another acorn lamp because they're so cute and very fitting for this build. And then I thought a little journal to track all of their fairy findings and, you know, any information they've gathered on fairies and whatnot would be so precious. I'll come back to it, but for now I throw in another little bowl of acorns. Maybe they're trying to feed the fairies and they think they eat acorns. I don't know, it just felt so like sweet and pure. I loved this idea. And again, it was making me nostalgic because it just reminded me of like me and my cousin, because this is 100% something we would try to do as kids. We had the best make-believe games, that's all I'm gonna say. And then for their twin sibling over here, I gave them a little fairy door, a little tree, some flower petals. It was just so precious. I also added this little flower lamp from Werewolves, because is there anything more magical than that? I don't think so. And it just fit the space perfectly. And then I wanted some final clutter for over here on the dresser, and I found this object, again, Enchanted by Nature, and I thought it would be so cute if maybe their parents had crafted them these little potion bottles and books for like their fairy findings and just things like that. Like they're just helping them live out this dream that like fairies are real. I thought it was so precious, and I couldn't resist. And then I threw in a candlestick. Once again, maybe not the safest in a kid's room, but it looked really cute. And then I added some flower press art because it just felt like it fit the vibe in here. I really liked this butterfly one in particular, but I also used the default swatch over the dresser, I believe. Yeah, just put that over there. And then I added a little drawing rack from Parenthood, just in the little flower swatch. And of course it's a fall build, so I have to put more of those fall garlands. And it's basically the law to put in fairy lights in a fairy inspired room. So I put that all around. And that was the kids' room complete. Once I add in this final chandelier, it's just so magical in here. Moving on to the last room, we are now in the attic of the barn. And I'm just going to put in essentially any skill item I can think of, both for kids and adults. And I wanted there to be a little seating area, and I thought I could use the really cute fall themed chair from Adventure Awaits, similar to the ones we use downstairs. This is also not a chair, this is a sofa. My apologies. It's been a long voiceover, okay? I'm getting a little tired, I can't lie. I hope there's a bunch of you who are sleeping very soundly right now. I wish I could take a really big nap after this, but I actually have to go and look for my costume. But over here, I was originally going to put another activity table, but then I decided that a normal table would be cuter because then I could put more specific items like this flower press, and then I also put in the papercraft item from Adventure Awaits. And both came in perfect swatches. One had a little fairy thing on the front, and the other was in fall colors. So, dream come true. And then once again, I went down nostalgia lane, memory lane, that's the one. And I started thinking about me and my cousin again, because at my cottage, we had this garage with this loft area, and my grandma was big into sewing. And so she had all this scrap fabric up there, and my cousin and I would pretend to run fabric stores and whatnot. And this room up here reminds me of that. And it just felt so cozy, and it just also kind of looked like the inside of my cottage because it was a very old cottage, but I could definitely smell this room, which maybe sounds weird, but I also think that means I did a good job. Over here I put in a little art easel. Imagine painting with that window open, like you've got the pond below, you could probably hear a couple of frogs or crickets, just delightful. And then I threw in this little chair over here with a little throw blanket. Again, perfect swatches. I added cross stitching as well, and I even put the infant play mat, so really there's something for every life stage in here, at least the life stages I've included in this house. And then I brought back the woven mat that failed me in the kids' room underneath the easel. And then of course I had to clutter up the little creative desk area. Again, just imagine sitting here and crafting with that window open. It just seems like a dream come true. You've got a fresh cup of tea, you're making some paper crafts, the fall breeze is coming through, there's a little candle. I think that could cure 99% of my problems. But I think it came out so adorable in here. I did have this werewolves book, but I switched it out for a set of speakers instead. Because I like the idea of them listening to music while they're doing this. And then I threw in this kind of handcrafted bookshelf from university because I thought it could be a good little addition. And then I'll add in a couple more decorations here, like some more garlands and a couple of fairy lights because it's just crucial if you want the build to feel magical. And then once I add in the fairy lights, we're going to be good to head on into the tour and see the build completely done, bathrooms and all. So this is the build all completed. I think it came out so magical and cozy. I love that the water wheel actually moves. I think that really adds to it. And just the little pond. Oh, my playtest sim is using the bridge. Proof that it works. This is the side of the build here. Nothing too crazy, but still cute. Then we have the back of the build with all the trees in the way. Again, simple, but I think charming. And then over here we have the whole farm area. You can see the inside of the barn there. I'll show it better in a second. But we have the little cow pen. We have the chicken pen here. And then we have the farm area. Again, I really love that fence from Enchanted by Nature. We'll start on the barn, at least on this side here, when you come through the front door. And then it's pretty sparse in here, I'll be honest, but there's a couple of horse beds, a outdoor trash can, and then some clutter on this wall. And then you can easily access all of your barnyard animals. And then making our way across the bridge here. Such a cute entrance. Here's the little porch area. We'll make our way inside. So this is the entranceway here. I really love the open section that I did. I don't really know how best to describe that, but look at it with the light coming through. Stunning. Our little harvesting baskets for both the kids and the adults. I also put a couple of fall cards from seasons. Simple, but very cute. I'm going to say that a lot in this tour, I'm just warning you. Make our way through the hallway, and then to the left we have the dining room. I love the color scheme in here, so autumnal. And I'm realizing that the chicken kind of ties everything in together. It has all the right colors. The little bar area. And then we come back out to the hallway. This is how I decorated the hallway, by the way. It's pretty simple. Oh, there is our sim there. Here's our living room. Oh, it looks so cute with the TV going. Next, you just need the fireplace on, and then I think we're golden. The little candles going. Okay, well, I low-key feel like the sim is wrecking the vibe in here. Not very autumnal. But anyways, coming out, we will go into the kitchen next. Same thing, color scheme in here is chef's kiss, if I do say so myself. I also love all the clutter. And I like the mix and match of these cabinets. I honestly think that worked really well. You have the breakfast nook. And then we'll make our way over into the mudroom here. I think the mudroom honestly is one of my favorite rooms in this house. I think it's so perfectly cluttered with a good mixture of decorations and actual clutter objects. And I really like the wallpaper and flooring combo. For the bathroom, I did not do anything crazy. I have a sink from Life and Death. The shower is from For Rent. And I just went for like a brown, green, and gold color scheme. And then we'll make our way up the stairs. And we meet this very cute desk area. I think it's a nice little spot to have like the family computer. This is what the hallway looks like. Again, pretty sparse. Ignore this, I'm gonna fix that. I realize I'm missing a roof piece there. But while we're here, we'll just take this door out over into the attic. I think this is probably my other favorite room in here. I just love it for a gameplay idea and just the nostalgia it brought me. And then of course we have the little balcony and you can see all the beautiful fall trees. And then we'll come left here and we'll enter the nursery. So woodland, so adorable. And I don't think it feels too cramped for the size of the room. I think it's still quite nice. And then we'll make a left again and enter the parents' bedroom. I think the color scheme in here, once again, is just so good. All of it feels so fall, which I mean was the goal, so mission accomplished. But I think this bed really makes the room. I think it just ties everything together. Oh my gosh, he just scared the life out of me. Okay, well anyways, we'll go into the bathroom that he's now demolished, and we'll take a look. I used Vampires Appliances, Realm of Magic, wallpaper, and life and death counters. Lovely. And then we'll go to the last room, which probably takes the cake for favorite room. How many times have I said that? But for real, I think this one is my favorite. Just the storyline and the color scheme. It's just so precious, and I definitely think I have to do a little bit of gameplay. To enter the giveaway for the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, just follow the instructions on the screen, but the gist of it is that I need you to comment your EA ID down below, and then that way I can add you as a friend on the EA app and send you the code. The winner will have 48 hours to accept my friend request before I move it on to someone else, and it is completely random, so good luck. And of course, thank you guys so much for the support because you are the reason I'm able to do these giveaways. So just follow the instructions if you want to enter, and that's all. That's going to be it for today's video. My voice really hurts after talking for 2 hours straight, so give this video a like and subscribe if you did enjoy it, and hopefully I will see you all in the next one.